Hey, my friends, let's talk about knife carry. Just different philosophies and maybe positions and combinations. Before I get into this, I want to thank everyone who watches my channel and actually watches my other channels as well. I really do appreciate that a lot. And I want to also welcome a lot of the other newer subscribers that just joined in the last few weeks. I hope you enjoyed my videos and continue to. We've had a very large increase in membership. And I just want to say that I really do appreciate that. And I don't take that for granted at all. So thanks again. Now, let's get into the video. Now, first off, I like to define two terms that I'm going to be using in this video. And that's going to be neutral carry and segmented carry. Neutral carry is going to be, if you look at this image right here, these two images, it's going to be down the midline, the median midline areas of the body. So basically, it's going to be in places that are going to be very easily accessible, if you will, by either hand. So your right or left hand can access a neck knife, or maybe a knife that's in your belt buckle, or it's in an area very close to the appendix area. Maybe it's in the small of the back, or maybe it's also in the inner portion of the thigh and or ankle. So these are just some examples. And this is going to be in contrast to segmented carry, which is going to be purposely put in these locations for one hand more so than the other. So for example, a pocket knife in the front right pocket is meant for the right hand, not the left. So as we proceed here, I also get a lot of questions about, Art, how many blades are really recommended on your person? How many should you carry? I get that quite a bit. And I don't really know how to answer that because everybody has different needs. And I would say at least one utility blade, right, for your everyday cutting to open up boxes, letters. Maybe you have to cut rope. And I would say at least one self-defense blade that you can keep sharp at all time, that you don't have a dull blade for self-defense. So I would recommend 2 blades at a minimum, but I think 3 to 4 is probably going to be more optimum. And we'll look at that a little more closely now, because I want to jump into some options here, configurations. And the first option would be to a dual neutral carry. And that would be, for example, if you had maybe as your neck knife, your utility blade, and maybe you had in your ankle, your defensive blade. That could be an option there of dual neutral carry. That setup right there to me wouldn't work, but maybe for some other people it would. Option number 2 is on your strong side, carry your utility knife because you use it a lot more than your defensive knife, and have a neutral carry defensive blade. The downside with this, though, is that you may not have quick access to that neutral carry option just because maybe the placement isn't the quickest. So something to consider. Option number 3, which is probably one of the most common approach to this problem of carry a knife, is the dual segmented carry option, where you have on your strong side a utility blade and on your weak side your defensive blade. So you have a blade on both sides, and if you were pressed into it, you could possibly use your defensive blade and your utility blade for self-defense. But this is the time that you should probably look into your utility blade and see, hey, how effective is it going to really be if I had to use it or press it into the use of defensive use? So just something to consider. Option number 4, which is my favorite, and I think this is the optimum or ideal setup, and it's dual segmented carry. And what I mean by that is you have a self-defense cutting tool on both sides of your person. For example, in your front right pocket and your front left pocket. And you have a third knife, which is going to be in a neutral carry position, and that could be your utility knife. I think that's going to really be the optimum because for various reasons, let me highlight one of them for you, is that sometimes when you're in a fight, and I'm not sure if you've been in a fight, I know I've been in a fight, other people I know that have been in a fight have told me this, that sometimes you get pinned down. And if your knife, or especially if you only have one knife, is on your right side and you're pinned down on your right side and you can't access your knife, well, you don't have access to any of your tools or your knife. Same thing goes with your carry gun or anything else. So that's why it's really smart to have at least something in the neutral position and or to have something in both positions if segmented. So I think this is very practical because if you're pinned down on the right side, you always have something on your left side to pull from. So the question really here is, do you have access to a blade with both hands, or either hand? This is a big question. A lot of people don't think about this. I know a lot of people that only have one knife on them, and it's definitely a segmented carry. And it's a bit of a concern because it wouldn't take a lot to limit their access to their only knife. What about neck knives and ankle carry knives? They kind of have their own unique problems. With the neck knife, sometimes it could be under several layers of clothing. It also has the potential to be a choke hazard. It's very unlikely, though. People over-exaggerate that particular threat. And you also have the fact that neck carry includes the problem of movement, and that neck sheath, especially if you're moving around in a self-defense situation very vigorously, your knife sheath is moving around as well, and it may be harder to find your knife under clothing. And the ankle carry is kind of self-explanatory. If you have to bend over or mess with your center of balance, maybe you don't have time to bend over and retrieve your knife from your ankle. That's going to be a big problem as well. So just things to consider. What do you think about this? How do you carry your knife? Do you prefer a neutral carry or segmented carry or both? I'd be very interested. I get a lot of questions about this through email. And so I just want to thank you once again, though, for joining me on the video. You guys take care. Catch you later.